this is the first, in fact, only English-speaking module in this CSR days here. Well, welcome to this module. My name is Christian Baumgartner. I'm General Secretary of Naturefriends International, which is an Austrian-based international NGO, and one of our core tasks is to focus on sustainable tourism development. And what we are going to do in this 1.5 hours is to talk about the new responsible tourism policy of Burma, Myanmar. Maybe this is also an issue how to call the country. I'm very pleased to welcome NICOLE Ha USLER here. NICOLE is CEO of mascontour, which is a German-based tourism consultancy, working for quite a long time, not only but also in Southeast Asia and also in Burma. NICOLE is going to have the first input, discussing the current situation of what's going on in the country, what's the responsible tourism strategy about, so what's the process. And after that we have 3 more panelists here. We have Composite from Burma, very much welcome here. You're studying in Austria, in Europe, so you will also talk about your expectations, your insights, your views to the ongoing development. With Martin Petrich here. Martin Petrich is a traveling journalist and travel journalist, so traveling a lot, writing tour guides, tourism guides for several countries, for a German publishing house, and also long-lasting experience in this country and other countries in Southeast Asia. And last but not least, Petra Thomas, representing both the Forum Reisen, which is a German umbrella, well, not only German, but mainly German umbrella organization of, let's call them alternative tourism, tour operators and some travel agencies as well. But you also represent A&E Reisen, which is a tour operator offering also tours to the country. Welcome to all of you. NICOLE.
Yeah, thank you. Also a warm welcome from my side, or Meganava. I would like to give you first a brief introduction about Myanmar, very brief, and then start to continue to talk about the responsible tourism policy and also about the tourism master plan. I'm going to have only 10 or 15 minutes, so please understand that I cannot cover all topics, but later on we will hopefully have a lot of time also to discuss all the questions you will raise. I think most of you are aware there were elections in 1990. The NLD, the National League of Democratic, the party of Aung San Suu Kyi, won these elections, but the elections were not accepted by the military, and then from 1990 onwards, there was a strong military regime in Myanmar. You may remember this picture, the Saffron Revolution in 2007, led by the Buddhist monks, but even during that time they were not very successful, let's say it like this. And then there were elections in October 2010, and everyone was absolutely smiling about these elections because everyone was thinking, anyway, elections will be elections, there will be no change in Myanmar, no political change. Then surprisingly, new president was announced, Thein Sein, and it became, Thein Sein really started to change the political direction in Myanmar, in such a way that also Aung San Suu Kyi, the lady, was willing to talk to him. And as a consequence, for example, in December 2011, he met Hillary Clinton. A lot of international politicians started to visit Myanmar. There were by or post elections on 1st of April 2012, and on that day, the lady herself, so the lady is Aung San Suu Kyi, was elected. She is now a member of the parliament. And just recently, I think it was in September, Obama visited Myanmar and he met the president, but also the lady. So Myanmar is opening up politically, but also in terms of economic relationships and cooperations. And what does this now mean for tourism and for the tourism development in Myanmar. I visited Myanmar the first time in 1996 and traveled more or less every year to this country. I gave also some trainings on responsible tourism, but to the private sector only. I never have been in contact with the public sector or with the government until 1 year ago. I was invited in November 2011. There was a conference called Travelers Leaders Symposium on Sustainable Tourism. And I was invited, you can see me here as a speaker, and I was quite surprised because they were focused. It was the first international tourism conference in Myanmar, and they called it already sustainable tourism. I was a bit critical. Yeah? Are they going to use or misuse this term? But I was quite surprised because for the first time I met the Deputy Tourism Minister, and who is now the Tourism Minister of Myanmar. And during this conference, he approached me and he told me, I have observed very well what you have done in the past years here. And actually, now because of the political change, can you please help us really to implement responsible tourism or sustainable tourism in Myanmar? And I was, oops, even a minister or deputy minister who has an idea about the term, who is really saying, okay, we would like to go this direction. And he has published, or let's say, I'm going to quote now one of his statements, which has been published in the Journal Journal in 2012. He said, the country has the opportunity to develop tourism in a responsible way, picking and choosing from the best examples of more developed countries, but adapting them to the local culture and environment. And Myanmar emphasizes quality rather than quantity. The minister himself expressed very much the wish to have a conference on sustainable tourism with international experts in 2012. And there was a lot of pressure. I said, to organize an international conference, this takes time, months. But it was the strong direction from his side, no, we don't have the time because the tourists will come now. We don't have the time, so we organized, or especially the Ministry of Hotels and of Tourism and the Myanmar Tourism Board of Federation, they organized by end of February a responsible tourism workshop and conference. And I was, beside two other facilitators, international facilitators or speakers, I was invited to attend these workshops and conference. And we have asked the ministry before to invite as many ministries as possible for these workshops. Not only the members of the Ministry of Hotel and Tourism, but really from all the other ministries, so that there is going to be a discussion in which way all the other ministries can contribute towards responsible tourism development in Myanmar. Frankly speaking, if we would do something like this in Germany, maybe 1 or 2 ministries probably would show up. I was absolutely surprised and astonished because participants from 22 ministries showed up, and we had a very lively discussion for one day on how to develop responsible tourism in Myanmar and how also the other ministries, social welfare, electricity, whatever, can contribute towards responsible tourism. Next day we had a workshop with more than 50 tour operators, also very group sessions, very lively discussion, and on the third day we had a big conference with approximately 150 participants. And you can see really the ministry spent a lot of money, let's say, for this conference. Just also really to show to the world this topic is important to us. That's me. You can see very informal, huge, big, just to demonstrate we are here and this is what we want to do. As an outcome of this workshop, it has been said very clearly what we need is a responsible tourism policy. We can have now a nice conference here and say this is what we need, but A, B, C, D, but what we really need is a policy. So again, there was, let's say, really a lot of pressure coming from, again, from the Ministry of Hotels and Tourism by stating let's have this policy as soon as possible. So again, a team of international consultants and also 2 national consultants came to Myanmar in May and June in order to formulate the responsible tourism policy for Myanmar. And I can distribute it now to you. I have 2 copies in English and 1 in Myanmar. Just, yeah, just to give you an impression about how it looks like. What we have done, the big question was, okay, we have now how to do such a policy. It would have been very easy. All 5 of us, 2 locals, 3 internationals, just would have sit down, discuss what we think would be important for such a policy, write it down, and then maybe present it in a conference. But we thought, no, this is not going to be in a very participatory way. So what we are going to do is, or what we have done, we had several working sessions with the public and private sector at different destinations in Myanmar. And at the final end, also a concluding conference in the capital city, Naypyidaw. We had about 350 participants in 12 working sessions, and you can see most of the time, actually, at the beginning, we said we do not want to have more than 20 participants for each workshop, because it's difficult to handle a workshop if you have more than 20 persons. But we couldn't, let's say, we couldn't stop them coming. In some places, we had really up to 40. And it was, who wanted to join the workshops really were able to join it. What was very interesting for me, this is some photos from the workshop, what was highly interesting for me was, it sounds a bit strange to you, but was the shape of the table. You can see here this U shape. And in Myanmar, it was very, very common for such seminars or conferences that you have conferences like the share shape, like the shares are put here, let's say in rows. Yeah. So the important persons are sitting in the front, and the not so important persons are sitting there, yeah, in the last row. And we said we do not want to have it. We want to have it really in a U shape so that everyone has the possibility to talk to each other. And there was sometimes, it was very interesting for me, long discussions with the organizers of the hotel in Bagan, because they did not want to understand why is it necessary to have this U shape. But finally this U shape worked very, very well. We got plenty of inputs. And then we had this concluding conference. And what we did is we really collected all the information we got during these workshops, and then sat down as a team for 1.5 days, restructured all the input, and then presented the restructured, let's say, first draft of the policy to the ministries and other stakeholders. And just I want to show you again, a lot of ministries attended this workshop. And we did it like this. We had the vision, for example, and a lot of the aims and the goals, and we really put it on the screen and said, so this is now our formulation. Is this okay? We had something like 40, 45 participants. Or would you prefer to reformulate it? And there was a discussion for 1 day, and we were really discussing each sentence, and everyone in the forum had the opportunity to raise the hand and say, I think it should be reformulated in this or that way. This is the vision now of the Myanmar Responsible Tourism Policy. We intend to use tourism to make Myanmar a better place to live in, to provide more employment and greater business opportunities for all our people, to contribute to the conservation of our natural and cultural heritage, and to share with us our rich cultural diversity. We warmly welcome those who appreciate and enjoy our heritage, our way of life, and who travel with respect. 9 aims were formulated. The first one is tourism is a national priority sector. Then broad-based local social economic development, maintain cultural diversity, authenticity, conservation and enhancement of the environment, compete on product richness, diversity and quality, not just on price. Ensure health, safety and security of our visitors. 7 is institutional strengthening to manage tourism. 8 is a well-trained and rewarded workforce, and 9 is minimizing unethical practices. And what has been astonishing for me, for example, for the second aim, broad-based social economic development, it has been formulated as a sub-aim, let's say, to spread benefits in the community, encourage local entrepreneurship and civil society engagement to secure livelihoods for women and youth and alleviate poverty. I was not really sure if these terms, civil society, would be really accepted by the government. I thought there will be some reluctance, because civil society really didn't exist in the past 20, 30 years. It was just the government and some private sector, but no civil society, no NGOs. I was quite surprised. Nobody ever during all the discussions raised their hands and said, no, we do not want to have any civil society engagement. It was well accepted. We also formulated action points, in total 58 action points, gave also priorities, what has to be done very soon and very, very, very soon. And again, all these were discussions with the stakeholders, and we also asked, okay, who should be now responsible? It's very nice and very easy to define aims and goals, but who is going to be responsible? And again, there was also during the conference, for example, for the action point, awareness and guidelines for preventing and detecting drugs and narcotics abuse. It was clearly stated that not the Ministry of Hotels and Tourism is responsible for it, especially it's the Ministry of Home Affairs as a focal point. And I was quite surprised, and even during the conference, they really raised their hands and said, no, it's our responsibility. We have to do it. This policy has been officially published then on the World Tourism Day in Myanmar, in Naypyidaw, with support of the Vice President of Myanmar. Yeah. And now the next step was, okay, we do not need only a policy, we of course need a master plan. And the master plan is now written up by a team which I'm actually a member of. This is a team who has been, let's say, hired by Thammasat University in Bangkok, by the College of Innovation. There was an official bid, and we won this bid. One person from Myanmar, and the rest are from Thailand, from Canada, from Germany. And I just would like, and we are now currently in the process to writing up this master plan. And definitely what has been also analyzed as a strength of Myanmar by the master plan team is really okay. It has a very good strategic geographic position, close to Thailand, close to China, close to India. The friendliness of the people. It can offer diverse products from nature, from fantastic beaches, but also mountainous areas for trekking, for example. Nature tourism and a long heritage history. It's so far an unknown destination, and there is at the moment a high media interest. There's absolutely an openness to change and innovation now within the Burmese society. They want to change. This is my feeling. They want to change the situation. And it has a very strong pilgrimage and Buddhist meditation tradition. And this is especially interesting for tourists from the neighbor countries, from China, from Vietnam, from Thailand. What are the weaknesses? The rapid growth. This is leading now to price increases of hotels and land speculation. You're going to pay now 4 or up to 5 times more for a hotel room than 2 years ago. And it's very difficult, especially now for tour operators in Europe or wherever, we need to calculate prices for Myanmar, because it's just going up. Yeah? And there's a limited number, especially of hotels, and for that reason, you pay now for a hotel room which you have paid 3 years ago, $30, you're paying now easily $100 for the same service. Absolutely for the same service. Land speculation, of course, is going on. There is a good awareness of what needs to be done. This is our feeling, also within the government. Yeah, also this pushing, okay, towards responsible tourism. There's a good awareness, but they are very limited financial and especially human resources. There's currently an uncertain investment environment. Who's going to invest it? What's happening under the table, etc., etc. There's, I've written here, poor waste and environmental management practices. Actually, it's zero. It does not exist at all. And there are very limited public services and infrastructure, especially related, of course, as well to tourism. And if you see the number of arrivals of tourists, and this is just at the airports in Yangon, in Mandalay, in Bagan, these are the figures until 2011, and this was the forecast for 2013 and 14. And you can see already in 2012, yeah, enormous increase. And I just got the information, this is from these 3 entry points, that in total it has been more than 1 million in 2012, coming also especially from the outside. But who's going to manage it? Who's going to manage all these tourists? So what we are doing now is in the master plan that looks terrific, no? Or colorful, whatever. We have defined 7 strategic directions, and one is what has to be done definitely is the strengthening of the institutional environment, to improve destinations and heritage site management, to develop and deliver quality products and services, to improve connectivity and travel facilitation, to strengthen cultural, environmental and social safeguards in tourism, to strengthen and improve capacity of human resources, and of course the issue of marketing. And the cross-cutting topics are all the time: gender, environmental sustainability, partnerships, innovative financing, regional cooperation, accessibility for disability. In my case, because I'm especially in charge of the environmental and social safeguards, just to make sure what it means. Safeguards is something like a doorkeeper. Yeah, there will be a lot of threats caused due to all these negative social and environmental impacts which may come to Myanmar. So what is important at the moment is really to establish these safeguards. And these safeguards are especially related to laws and policies and guidelines. So what our recommendations will be for the future is really to create and enforce laws, policies and guidelines in order to strengthen environmental and social safeguards in tourism, to promote innovative, sustainable technology, to establish safeguards, especially also at the tourism destinations, not only at national level, but at the destinations themselves, to start a lot of awareness campaigns on negative and positive impacts of tourism, and this is especially related also to child prostitution, for example. Implementation of tourism user fees, for example, for protected areas, and to develop adaptation and mitigation frameworks and strategies on tourism and climate change. These are just some of the aspects, of course, we are going to integrate into the master plan. I just want to, one is, for example, is carrying capacity and monitoring, how to define the limits of acceptable change caused by tourism and hotspot destinations in Myanmar. We had very interesting discussions also with the, let's say, business or the private sector stakeholders and with the public sector about the beaches. We have more than 700 kilometers of fantastic beaches. And there's nothing there at the moment, just local communities, fisher communities. And the big question is, what are you going to do with these beaches, for example? And if you have shown them these photos, how it looks like now, still like this, what do you want? Do you want to have something like that, or do you want to have something like that on the right side? Or maybe even something in between here. What was interesting, the reaction of 90% of the people was, we want to slow down at the moment. Everything is going there's a rush at the moment here. Yeah? You want to slow down and want to develop something which is in between here. You don't want to have but there has been also some people, strong people, who have some political influence, who are strongly saying what we want is a destination on the right side. So this is here's the pressure coming from so regarding tourism development, there might be 2 ways in uncontrolled mass tourism in the future. Thailand is nearby. Maybe a lot of people, instead of flying now to Thailand, would like to have mass tourism. It would be, of course, nice to have the perfect responsible tourism destination in the future, but let's be realistic, this is not going to be possible. At the moment, I think there's really the point where we can really think or should put all our efforts into the possibility that Myanmar should try to become as sustainable as possible as a tourism destination in the future. And if you are asking me how this is going to be implemented, that's going to be tricky. But at least we have already by now a responsible tourism policy. The master plan will focus very much on sustainable tourism development. And there will be also, until April 2013, a policy on community involvement in tourism. Because everyone is now raising his arm and saying we want to integrate as many communities as possible into tourism. Community-based tourism, whatever. But what is very, very important is really to put this also something in a framework and to develop and to think about it. What does it mean really to integrate and work with communities in tourism in Myanmar? There's currently a lot of proposals are written up for potential tourism projects focusing on sustainable tourism. And there are a lot of donors currently who are interested, hopefully, they show that really their interest to finance sustainable tourism projects in the future in Myanmar. In the future means really it should be done from now onwards, because there is not so much time left over. And hopefully there will be also this is a plan by March, April, for example, a roundtable meeting for donor organizations. So that we are based on the master plan and our recommendations that all these donor organizations are going to sit down and discuss among them, not alone, not single, among them, what they would like to support in the future, what kind of projects and how they can cooperate. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to answer all your questions.